Okay, so it's been 1 week of Charlotte Mason, and I thought I'd just show you guys what I did in our first week kind of going Charlotte Mason. We've decided to try going all in with Charlotte Mason for the next 12 weeks and see what sticks. So I'm gonna haul out my schedule here as well just to kind of see. I explained in my last recap and plan video for this month that we just want to take a more Charlotte Mason approach. We want to switch things up a little bit. I usually am very anti-schedule and planning, and I like to go fly by the seat of my pants. And I already like Charlotte Mason principles, but I'm reading her book. I'm like 2 chapters away from the end, and we actually have like an actual schedule of detailed things that we want to accomplish, as well as like even a time schedule. So let me flip this camera around and I'll show you. So instead of just talking about it, I actually want to show you the actual resources we're doing. So let's start with Monday. Monday, I have this blue work block every morning because I wake up at 5:30 and I try to get some of my painting work done before the kids wake up. 7 a.m., we have morning chores. We have chickens and cats and a dog to feed. And then we do breakfast and Bible from 7:30. And on Mondays, we are doing theology, okay? This is kind of like a catechism for little kids, like in younger words. I'm loving it. I already knew that there was gonna be good things about it. So we're doing theology as well as song/memory. So right now we're learning a hymn because Easter's coming. The kids are learning the Old Rugged Cross, so we've been singing that. We learned it for the first time, or I sung it to them and played it on the piano on Monday, as well as we did some memorization. So what I did, I created this PDF. This is linked for free on my last video, but I made a little scripture copywork PDF for verses that would match the first 12 lessons of this. This schedule is going for 12 weeks. So we're taking one verse from each weekly lesson. We're doing this once a week, just on Mondays. We're reading theology, and we have a corresponding verse. So my son did this. So every day he did copy work for it that was traceable mostly. But if I can zoom in, I'll show you guys next week's, for example. So for example, next week's, we're gonna start with the first week, he's gonna copy the entire thing in a traceable format. The next day in that week, when we do this, he's going to be copying and filling in the blank spaces. We cover this up with a piece of paper and he fills in the missing words. The next day, there's more missing words and he does copy work again. So he's practicing penmanship. He's also working on memorization. And then the fourth day, there's hardly any words left. And then I have the other page is just blank. So on Fridays, which he did this morning, he's gonna write down the final memory verse by heart. So that's what he did this morning. We worked on lots of penmanship this morning. So that's how I'm working in Bible and copy work memorization together for my oldest. Now for the younger two, something similar, and I did not share this as a printable. I really should. I will put this together perhaps at the end of the month. But, oh, where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I printed out the first 3 verses for the first 3 weeks from the Ology book on a piece of paper. And this was this week's verse, so Revelation 1:8. So for my youngest children, what I did the first day was I cut out the first part of the verse. Okay, so for example, and I kind of shared about this on Instagram too, how we were using this to do also reading and spelling and memorization all at the same time for my younger two. So for example, the first day I put I am, give me a the, alpha, and the omega. So that was day 1. So on day 1, I showed this to them. I read it. I had them repeat after me. I asked them to point to alpha, point to omega, point to the 2 the words. At the end, when we cleaned it up, I said, okay, now give me alpha, give me omega, give me the, give me I, okay? And then we put it away. The second day, we did the next line of the verse and we arranged it. The third day we did the next line of the verse. The fourth day we did the last line of the verse. Nicer and neater than this, obviously. And then today for review, I had my middle son arrange the verse completely by himself to show memorization. And then for spelling, what I would do is I would take the words from the verse and I would ask him to look at it. And when he was ready, I would cover it up and he would spell it for me. This is a method that Charlotte Mason talks about in Volume 1 for spelling. Same with the, same with who. My youngest does not know her letters yet, so we're not doing spelling with her. But for my middle child, this is how we're doing spelling. So memorization, spelling, and reading all with our Bible verse. So that's what we did all week. It was very successful. I absolutely loved it. And we'll be continuing next week or on Monday with our second lesson from theology. And we're going to be doing this Matthew verse. So Monday, I kind of sped through that. But Monday was the first part of this verse. And then just this copywork page for part of the copywork page for Monday. So a lesson from here and then our copywork and our little sing song. The next thing was math. So we start out at 8:30 with just 10 minutes of math. Each of my kids have a different math curriculum. I set a timer literally, and after 10 minutes, we stop. My middle son is just working with his 10 minutes of math. He's actually ahead in his math book anyways, but he is someone who benefits from short lessons and short attention span. My oldest needs more than 10 minutes of math, but he uses this block to catch up. So at 8:40, we do a history rotation. So on Mondays, we were reading The Age of Pirates, which was a deep dive by Monique from Wonderhouse Creative. I will just get that out here. Here it is. That's not the title page. The title page was prettier. So on Monday, we did The Age of Pirates. Ahead of time, I broke this whole unit up into what we would do for 12 weeks, one section per week. So I broke this up into 12, and on Monday, we did all of these pages. It worked out to be, I think, 2 or 3 lessons, the way she has it laid out there. So that was Monday's history. And then we do math at 9 o'clock, and for my oldest, this will be the remainder of his math. And sometimes he can get it done in this second half an hour block, and if not, then we'll just move it and it'll go into this green section here. So after our next session of math from 9 to 9:30 on Monday, then there was spelling, and I won't do the memory verses again. I believe on Monday I actually just counted our morning memory time as our spelling, but if I have any other spelling resources, I will put that in. I have 2 spelling days that we can do extra reinforcement for spelling. Then at 10 a.m. we had home geography, which I will get from my bookshelf here. Here we go. So this was recommended on Ambleside Online. It's home geography, CC Long. It's for primary grades. We did think the first lesson was very primary, but maybe it'll get harder. We'll see. It basically started out with directions left and right. So we did that. It was a nice short lesson. The next block after that on Monday was our outdoor block. This whole green outdoor block we will use for outside or chores and free time, possible art and nature journaling if we're outside, song and recitation time as well if we're outside and have the opportunity. But I wanted to make sure that we had a huge chunk of time that could potentially be all outdoor time if we chose it. And I felt that all of these encompassed what outdoor time could look like as well. So we do a lot of chores outside, that kind of thing. So that goes from 11:30 all the way until 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, my husband comes home for lunch. So we'll have lunch, we'll prepare that, and then at 1:30, we do artist study. Let me go grab that. Okay, so for artist study, we're covering Howard Pyle, because he was very famous for pirate painting, and a lot of our other themes here are pirate-based. So we would have a piece of art from him. This was from a Robin Hood book novel reflection that I did, that I created, and Howard Pyle wrote Robin Hood, and he also did the art in a lot of his, like he was an illustrator too. as well as a painter. So we read the bio about him from the novel Reflection, and then we would study one of his paintings, see what the kids notice about it. This would be a time we probably made some tea and talked about it for a little while and ate our lunch doing that together. So then next on the list at 2 o'clock was draw and paint. My kids love creative time. And then 2:30 was piano. They do have to practice piano for lessons every week, so make sure we get some of that in there. Then we have our second huge outdoor block from 3 o'clock to 5:30. Now, again, this could be outdoors. It could be time for chores. We didn't go outside for this entire chunk all the time because I sometimes need some things to get done inside. But I have garden, free time, possible art, nature journaling, song recitation time. So kind of similar to this block up here. 5:30, we attempt to do a clean sweep before supper. So supper block starts at 6. Usually by clean sweep time, I'm in the kitchen and the kids are doing other things like cleaning up the table. This worked surprisingly well. Let's move on to Tuesday. Okay, so on Tuesday, again, work, morning chores. This was a swing day. I don't have the book in front of me, but we finished off another kids devotional book that we've been working on. So we did the last one of there, and then I put the books away downstairs. So that's why I don't have them. We did the Old Rugged Cross. Again, the kids are starting to get to know it a little bit. And again, we did our memory verse. So my oldest son did this section of his copy workbook. And then the youngest ones worked on this, but just a second line of it, not just the first line. Same thing, we went over reading, spelling, just like I showed you on Monday. Then we had math time again, 10-minute block. Then we stop for 8:40, which was the Storybook of Science, which I actually just have on my, on my tablet, on like a Kindle reader. So that was another Storybook of Science, was one that was recommended by Ambleside Online. So we are trying it out. I'm assuming it will be a lot of story form to learn about natural history. So then we have another math block, and then we have grammar. Currently we are using Fix-It Grammar for our grammar. I'm just doing one level for my two oldest ones. So we're doing level 1 for both of my older boys. So they did Fix-It Grammar, which usually doesn't take us very long at all. They really like it. It's pretty easy. Then we did Robinson Crusoe. I have this in a paper copy, as well as I have the free audiobook with my Audible membership. So we are listening to this book through audio, as well as my oldest son is following along in here. And as well, we've been specifically using this to do narration afterwards, but something that my oldest son struggles with is narrating less detail. Oftentimes narration encourages detail, but something that I'm trying to build in him is a skill to do summaries. So we've been working on maybe doing like 5 summarizing sentences after our reading or something like that. So we're using this for reading and for narration. And then we have our outdoor block again, same thing as before. Math, if my oldest has leftover math to do, it will go into this block before we do outside. Artist study, we did more Howard Pyle. This time we looked more at his like styles, not just painting, but we talked about the different styles that he was famous for, and especially when it was mixed with literature and stuff like that. And then we did piano. Nature appreciation is basically anything from a YouTube video, from something nature-y to nature journaling that can mix in with that. I specifically wanted to focus on sea creatures just to kind of keep the pirate theme rolling, but we haven't done that quite yet. But maybe next week for nature appreciation, we'll maybe be watching or reading about sea creatures at this time. Our next outside block, clean sweep and supper. Let's move on to Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday was actually one of my favorite days because we did our Old Testament reading. We started in Genesis, and I used this time for recitation, and I did trading verses with my oldest son. We did 3 verses at a time in Genesis 1, and the goal was to read with enthusiasm, describing and really pulling in any hearers of our story. And so we had very expressive reading turns back and forth. Taking turns allowed me to give him an example of what good inflection sounds like, and he did an amazing job doing his turns as well. that was incredibly fun. Genesis 1 was very exciting. And then we did our song. Again, we're working on the Old Rugged Cross. I also, where's that book? I also pulled out Then Sings My Soul, which gives, it gives like a story behind the Old Rugged Cross. So we read that as well as Senate. And then we did our memorization. So on this day, my son did the third one with more blanks empty to work on his writing and his memorization. And my younger two did this one, which worked on spelling and reading and memorization as well, just like the days before that I showed you, but an added line to the verse. So another part. And then after that, we did our 10 minutes of math, and then we did, right here. We did our 10 minutes of math, and then we read a portion from a book called The Age of Enlightenment. Because we're doing pirates, I wanted to do something that was happening during the same time period, which in Western culture was the Age of Enlightenment period. And so we're reading through this book. We got a really great introduction or overview on the Age of Enlightenment. Supposedly, there's a lot of biographies in here. So I'm excited to go through this for the next 12 weeks. The first introduction was really, really good. And then we had spelling time. I don't believe that we intentionally did any spelling for this block, but we did some spelling with our earlier memorization stuff. I may actually have gone back over some spelling with my oldest from here during that block. I can't remember. And then we did poetry. So Henry Wadsworth Longfellow or Wadsworth. We are memorizing A Psalm of Life. We actually memorized it this summer, so it's almost like review. So we're working on that one, and we're going to keep working on this as part of our memorization. Then we have the outdoor block, artist study. We did another Howard Pyle painting. Creative time. This was just time for my kids to do whatever. Maybe they made like cardboard box armor, or if they want to draw, they're quite creative and they love free range of the scissors and the glue. Piano time, outside block, clean sweep supper. Let's go to Thursday. Okay, so for Thursday, we started with our New Testament reading, same style in recitation style. So we traded turns back and forth, doing just good quality speaking while we were reading our New Testament. And then we did the Old Rugged Cross, more memorization. The last one here for my son, just like we had done and I explained the other days, math. Then we did this Pirates and Illustrated History. This was an interesting book that I've actually had for a while. I haven't gone through it. I can't recommend it quite yet, but it was really interesting. We read the introduction to it, and it was really good. It gave us a really good overview of pirates, and mostly focusing on, well, it kind of gave an overview of the pirates throughout world history, but it did say this book is going to focus more on the Pirates of the Caribbean, for like where the history is. I'm assuming that's going to be the golden age of pirates. So then after pirates, we had more math, and then we had more fix-it grammar, the same one that we did here. Composer study. We looked up Henry Purcell on YouTube. We learned a little bit about his life, and then we listened to his music for the afternoon. Henry Purcell was a composer, an English composer in the same era as the Age of Enlightenment and Golden Age of Pirates. And then we had, Thursday's our big clean day because I host Bible study on Friday afternoons. So we did a lot of house cleaning, more Howard Pyle art. We did not nature journal, we actually pirate journaled. We did a lot of painting on this day, painting pirate flags and other really fun things. So that was really fun. More cleaning, outdoor time. I think the kids went out actually for quite a long time on this day and built snow forts, but we did get the house tidied, cleaning, and supper. Finally, Friday, today actually, we did the Psalms. We did recite and review, which meant that my oldest flipped the page and he did the blank page this time, reciting it, writing it down by memory, as well as for the younger ones. They either arranged this in order or I asked them to tell it to me by memory. So they basically did their review of their memory verse. I'm also going to be using this for things like reviewing the song that we were learning that week, or also reviewing any poetry once we've finished it. So this little block of time will be for any kind of recitation or review that we might want to do at some point, like throughout our week.
It also might be something where I put some things into a rotation that as our memorized work gets older and older, we may have to figure out a rotation system for this block to be something where we go through some of the older things that we've memorized. There is a video course that we're starting to watch on Pirates. I will let you know how it goes, but that is something we did after math today. My oldest then finished his math. We did free writing. My oldest is writing a pirate story. So we're kind of doing free write Fridays. Free writing is when they write creatively and I don't correct any of their work, and it's amazing and they love it. Pirate's Passage is a novel. Again, I can't quite recommend it just yet. I think I just broke a glass because I'm not sure how it's going to go. But we're trying this one by William Gilkerson. So we read a bunch of this today. I'm trying to keep Fridays a little bit lighter and fun. So we get a video course, which of course is awesome. And the kids get to show off in the morning. And then we get free fun writing. And then we get our fun kind of story that's very, very fictional. Anyways, and then all the rest that they have to do is do piano. I also had an idea that I wrote down here. As far as recite and review goes, I'm thinking that maybe on Friday nights, once my kids get to know quite a few new songs, we may implement some kind of like a hymn sing in the evening on the weekend, or maybe on Friday nights. I wrote down that with a question mark. So that is a week in review of our first week doing Charlotte Mason. So we did narration. After a lot of our readings, we would pause sometimes after just paragraphs, especially at the beginning of the week, or for my middle son, I'll pause after a paragraph and ask him to repeat to me the things that he learned from that or what he heard, to tell back. We did copywork passages. We usually only did like one copywork passage per day. We didn't do much more than that. What other elements did we do? Lots of outdoors stuff. We did really good recitation time with our Bible time. That was really fun. Bible time's actually like becoming quite academic, I feel like, with this like recitation and spelling and the Bible memory stuff. So that's been working really well. We may do the same strategy for spelling and reading with other materials, but it just seemed to make sense with our Bible verses as we're memorizing them for now. And then maybe we can expand on that more after. So that's how our first week went with this new Charlotte Mason schedule. And to be honest, we had way more time than I ever thought we would have. I don't know whether it's the Charlotte Mason method and those short lessons and less time dawdling or like brain exhaustion that kind of takes up a lot of chunks of time. For example, when you're sitting down to do all of your math work and it's taking you like a whole hour or a whole half an hour at least, as opposed to doing it in 10-minute segments, and then maybe your brain just can give it your best 10 minutes. That's what I always tell my kids. Give me your best 10 minutes, and then you can have a break. And it just seems like that was very beneficial to the amount of free time that we have in the day. Also, having a schedule, as much as I really, really hate schedules, it is possible that our schedule kept us on task enough to have those two huge chunks in the morning and then in the afternoon to do what we needed to do, wanted to do, enjoy the outdoors. So we'll hopefully get better at that and better at really utilizing the outdoor space for other things like bringing our read aloud outside. Still very snowy here, so it's just like lots of snow play, but I'm excited for when mittens don't have to be on anymore and we can take more of our schoolwork outside with us too in those blocks. So yeah, hope that was informative. I will keep you guys posted on how it's going. Bye.